going on, guys? 90 days into the hockey season, so let's take a look. I don't think we've looked in 30 days, so we were looking at the first 60 days now. Let's take a look at the first 90 days, see where players are at. We're going to look at PSA 10s, Upper Deck Young Guns, and Young Guns Canvas. Current price of $100 or higher with 5 sales in the last 90 days should get us a good baseline of sort of who's doing what. No surprise here, we got Jason Robertson, Tage Thompson, pretty much 1 and 2. Gabe Vilardi jammed here in the middle. See, Gabe Vilardi goes from $38 to $127. Had a hot start, 19 points in 28 games, and certainly you got to keep an eye on, but you're gonna have this season to sit on it and watch what he does. And I mean, just not something I would look to speculate on right now. We'll get back to Jason Robertson, Tage Thompson. We got Ilya Samsonov up 98%, Andrzej Kopitar up a bunch, David Pastrnak. Rasmus Dahlin had a hot start to the season. How do you move the needle? How do you go up 55%? Go from the $110 up to $170. It's scoring goals. It's not getting assists. They're all these defensemen are playing the top on that power play now, and they're all putting up points. But you got to score goals, and that's when Rasmus was seeing the real price action early in the season when he was scoring those goals. So not to be unexpected there. Carter Hart, glad you sold the May Brent. Carter Hart up 43.8%. He was down as low as $80, now up to a whopping $115. He started off the season, his save percentage was up in the 940s, and he's come tumbling down to sitting at 911 right now. He went 9 out of 10 games where he had a sub 900 save percentage. That's a perfect way to piss off Torts and to really bring your save percentage crashing down. But the thing is, he seems to do it every year. I think the last 2 years, he struggled to stay above 900, and he's done the same thing. He started off hot, and then people think it's going to be the season, and it's not. And I don't know what to make of him. What I will say watching him this year, I watched him prior to that bad run. I think fundamentally he looked a lot more sound. Just looked like he was moving in his net better, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of Carter Hart. I don't like goalies. I don't like buying goalies. If I'm going to buy a goalie, it's going to be Vasi. Buy the best of the best. Will Schuster can be that guy. Certainly, you can make an argument for that. I wouldn't mind buying a card like that. Carter Hart, zero interest for me. So these are my thoughts and opinions, not financial advice. You do you, guys. If you like a guy, I always say, right, believe in yourself. If you think that Carter Hart's going to be the guy and can get to that level, he's still young, go ahead. Have at her. I'm not on it. Alexi up a little bit. He was as low as 152 and up to 202. Nico Hischier having a good year. He was at $100 and currently up to about $130. Then we get down to Leon Draisaitl, who is up about 18%. He's got 46 points in 28 games with 19 goals. It's just what he does though, right? You find the same thing. Why haven't we hit McDavid yet? Because McDavid could have, if he had 100 points right now, he'd probably see a pretty good increase in value. But the thing is, McDavid just does what he does and no one cares. And Leon's sort of the same thing, like an absurd start, yet it's just to be expected. Ho-hum, right? Easy game. Braden Point, Brad Marchand, Nick Suzuki here. Pretty flat. Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, really interesting over there in Montreal. Definitely keeping an eye on those two. So I'm not dismissing everyone. My boy Dylan Cousins, I have some PSA 10s I am looking to sell, and I'm wondering if I hold them. I am not a guy who buys cards, grades them, and then holds them, but I really like Cousins. I have for a long time, and I think this is pretty low. He's just about turned 22 years old, and he's got 10 goals in 27 games, and he's got 27 points in the 27 games. And he's also got 7 points in the last 4 games. So we've seen, I believe, a relatively recent spike on Cousins here. If we take a look at just the last week or so, we see that he's crept up, and that's just from the little bit of production. Again, in Buffalo, so not very likely to have any sort of playoff appearance. We'll see. I wouldn't count them out quite yet. If Tage Thompson can score 4 goals a game and Cousins can help out, then they'd have a shot. But I don't know. We'll check back in about 20 games. Dylan Cousins up a little bit at 25%. Leon Draisaitl, Braden Point, Suzuki. We went over those. Petey up a little bit. Again, it's it's tough to see him up only this much for as well as he's playing this year. You watch a guy play, he's one of the most dynamic young players in the game. I have my bets in on him. I am holding my PDs. As much as I hate holding cards, I am holding my PDs, and the market's also just changed. This card was up as high as about $600 Canadian, currently sitting at about 240 Canadian ish. It was up at 600. I think the ceiling for this card might only be around 350 Canadian, or maybe it gets 250, 300 USD, but we'll have to see. That's going to be on PD. He's really going to have to pick it up. McDavid makes an appearance. Now we're seeing some guys who are relatively flat. Boring guys, right? McDavid, Ovechkin, Stamkos, Makar, Lundqvist. No one cares about these guys, right? Austin Matthews, ho-hum, 0%. There you go. So the two players I really wanted to talk about were Jason Robertson and Tage Thompson. I think it's a tale of two completely different players. You got Tage Thompson, who first of all is 2 years older. He's 25 years old. Jason Robertson only 23 years old. I also think two completely different playing styles. Tage Thompson, 6'6". If you watch his goals, they're highlight reel. They're unbelievable. He really uses his reach and his stick handling to, score some highlight reel goals. Well, he's also 6'6". He really torques that stick, and he's got a really sick release. And, a really fun guy to watch the highlight reels of and watch him score. Where Jason Robertson is more of a north-south, just gets the job done type of player. Just different, I think, for hockey cards. The more dynamic, fun player to watch, obviously, like a Tage Thompson, is more exciting than a Jason Robertson. Having said that, again, you have Jason Robertson being 2 years younger. And then it sort of goes to, okay, both these players are on the pace to 60 goals. Is one of them going to get there? I don't know. Like, 60 goals is really hard. If I had to bet, I would certainly bet against it. And that's only because it's more statistically probable that they don't score 60. It's not because I don't want them to score 60. I'm sort of indifferent. I'm in watch mode anyways. I'm just going to be really curious to watch the rest of the season and sort of see what happens with these guys. I'm just more telling you what I'm thinking about with these guys. The next thing I would be thinking about is sort of playoffs. Is Tage Thompson going to get there? Are the Buffalo Sabres going to make the playoffs? Right now, they got games in hand, but they're out of a playoff spot by, I believe, 7 points. So they'd certainly have some work to do in order to get there. Where Jason Robertson in Dallas looks like they're fairly secure in where they're going. They got Jake Ottinger back. Just a really, pretty good looking team this year, and I think it's pretty safe to say that the Dallas Stars are going to find themselves in the playoffs. And while we're on the playoff thing, I'm just going to touch on my feelings on winning Stanley Cups. And really, it's that they don't mean shit. I haven't been in this hobby very long. The last 3 years, I watched the Tampa Bay Lightning win 2 Stanley Cups in a row, and then the Colorado Avalanche win. And no card has moved because a player won the Stanley Cup. Okay, so if you have some evidence that winning a cup increases value, then I definitely would like to see it because it's quantifiable. It seems to be a thing that a lot of people talk about and say, well, wait until McDavid wins a cup. When he wins a cup, does Connor McDavid have to win a cup for you to understand how good Connor McDavid is? I don't think so. I mean, I think it'd be extremely unfortunate if Connor McDavid went his career without getting a cup. Is it going to hurt his value? Is card A going to be, $10,000 with a cup and $8,000 without a cup? I just don't think so. So the whole Stanley Cup thing, I don't know. It sort of drives me a little bit mad because I don't think there's anything there, but I digress. So back to the playoffs. Tage Thompson likely not going to make the playoffs. Jason Robertson could make the playoffs. Although we got a lot of games in between. If Jason Robertson only scores 45 this year, then what? How is Price going to hold up in that situation? 45, obviously, 45 goal year would be a great year, but is that going to hold this $600 price? I don't know. I would likely bet against it, but it's going to be interesting to watch. Again, these are sort of things that I think about. And again, I try not to have any bias. I just want to be able to take note for myself so that I can sort of remember this whole curve that we're going through. With Jason Robertson, obviously a straight spike upward. Anytime you see something that looks like this, coming from down here at 197 up to 700 in a matter of a couple of weeks, you should probably pump the brakes and really think about this. Don't get caught on this train buying this card up here. Am I saying not to buy Jason Robertson? I'm not saying that. you, you do what you like. Do I think it's a great buy at this time? I don't know. We typically don't see players just go from the bottom and straight moon and hold that value. At some point, there's a serious regression or a correction, if you want to call it that, back down. So we see a sale here at 612. And keep in mind, too, this card is still a pretty low pop at only 363. So Jason Robertson, Tage Thompson, what do you guys think? Put in the comments below. Let me know. Are you guys buying them? Are you selling them? Are you holding them? I'm not sure. I'm watching, I think, the next, 30-ish games, getting us up to game 60 or so. It's going to be interesting to sort of check back in and see where these guys are at and what's happened with the price. Right now, everyone wants to buy them. Is that the best thing to do? I don't know. We're going to see. I'm not buying them. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You do you. I'm just not. But again, let me know in the comments below. Curious your thoughts on those guys. Let's take a look very quickly at players who are down. So starting off with Moritz Seider. No surprise there. Not because Moritz Seider isn't a great player. I think he's way better. It's just, again, you have to separate the caliber of the player from the card and the card value. In the short amount of time I've been doing this, I see the same things over and over. Right now, obviously, numbers are a little lower. The numbers change. There's more volatility. There's less volatility. You sort of see the same things. Alexander Barkov down. He was injured. I'm not sure if that's sort of, well, this value's really crushed. Not sure. Trevor Zegras, Case, Stützle, both these guys over a point per game. So, and seeing huge moves down. Jonathan Huberdeau. Zegras, Landeskog injured. John Tavares, Chris Kreider, Adam Fox down, Spencer Knight, Jack Hughes, hottest player in the offseason, Cole Caulfield down. A little bit interesting on Caulfield, Lafreniere, Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Matthew Barzal, Tim Stützle, Jake Ottinger down 20% from 148 down to about $117. Brady Tkachuk having a good year too, 169 down to 140. Take a quick look at this, bouncing around. Okay, so he's sort of settled into this price anyways, $150 US card, right? Right around there. Nikita Kucherov down 16%, price 16. Crosby down 15. I'll buy all of your Crosbys. When's a good time to buy Crosby? I don't know. It's always a good time to buy Crosby. That's probably the right answer. Shane Pinto down 15%. He was up at $120, down to $102. He had a hot start. I told you guys be careful. He was shooting at like 40%. And what's going to happen? And, numbers just regress to the mean. And so he has 1 goal in the last 13 games. It's just math. It was sort of inevitable that that's going to slow down. But Shane Pinto, and I'll talk about this in 1 second. Cale Makar down, Hughes down. Bits and pieces on these guys. Quinn Hughes down 13%, 145 to 125. Again, these defensemen who get a point per game, just not the same as the goal scorers. And Charlie McAvoy, another really good defenseman. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. Again, leave a comment below. What do you think of these guys? Jason Robertson, Tage Thompson. You buying, you selling, you holding? Let me know in the comments and we will check you.